let's have a chat about following a quilt pattern, what you can run into and how you can solve it. Welcome to a new video on the Sugaridoo YouTube channel. It is Tuesday, so time for a Q&A Tuesday. My name is Irene, and this here is my little buddy, a little big buddy Tommy. I am going to chat about the question, have you ever had trouble following a quilting pattern, and what did you do? So that's a fun question about a not so fun problem. And I say fun question because there are quite a few ways to deal with this. So if have I ever run into trouble following a quilting pattern? Yes. Following a crochet pattern? Yes. Following a knitting pattern? Yes. Because it has a lot to do with reading and understanding what you're reading and understanding how the pattern writer meant what they wrote down. Yeah, so of course I run into trouble with following a pattern, and I also get questions from people who run into trouble while following my pattern sometimes. That's totally fine, so don't feel weird or stupid when you run into trouble with following a pattern. That's the first thing. So yeah, I think it starts with reading and rereading the instructions. So if you run into something that you don't understand, or something that you made and turned out different than what the pattern said, just remeasure what you did. Did you cut the pieces in the right sizes? Did you follow the instructions or of how they were written? Yeah, just reading and rereading and seeing if there was a mismatch there with what you read and what you did. So that's a good first thing to start. So reread it, or maybe let somebody else in your household read it and tell them, I read this instruction like this. Do you also read it that way? Or maybe it could be interpreted in two different ways. So that's something you could do in your house. No quilting friends needed for that. And the other thing is, if you have quilting friends around, or maybe you go to a quilting bee, or you are in a quilt guild, then you can take your project with which you have trouble with you and ask them, hey, I am working on this, but I don't understand that, or I made this but it doesn't measure up to what it's supposed to. So ask a quilting friend, because maybe they spot something that went wrong, or maybe they say, you did exactly what is instructed and it doesn't work out. So that is the next thing. So reading something incorrectly or not measuring correctly, that's something you could do. But sometimes there could also be an error in the pattern. It happens, that could be. So then you do everything correctly and it doesn't work out. What I would do then is Google if there are any corrections on the pattern. So maybe the pattern got updated after you bought it. That could be. So then you could Google the name of the pattern with correction or update, and just see if there's maybe a blog post about it, or somebody posted something in a Facebook group about it. Then you can find it out for yourself. If the correction is already out there, or if it was indeed a correction, and maybe that way you could also find other quilters struggling with the same thing. So that's also something you could do when you have a pattern from a certain designer and they have a Facebook group. Then you could pop in there and use the search bar in that specific Facebook group to search for the name of the pattern, and maybe some threads pop up with people talking about it or giving tips about it. If you can't find anything, it's perfectly fine to, you already did a lot, you reread it, you search for corrections or ask a friend. It's perfectly fine to ask the designer, hey, I'm struggling with this. I'm following your pattern, but it's not working out. I tried this and it's not measuring up with the directions in the pattern, it's perfectly fine to ask them. Send me an email if something is not working out for you in the pattern by me. That's completely fine. You can always ask. And those Facebook groups are also there to help you. So in the Sugaridoo Facebook group, there are a lot of quilters with a lot of knowledge. So together we know a lot. So if you struggle with something, you can always pop into a specific designer's Facebook group or a general quilting Facebook group. There are even Facebook groups for beginners. There you can ask your question, and I'm sure that a ton of people would love to help you. So yeah, that's my answer. Yes, I did struggle with instructions in a pattern because reading and getting exactly what is meant is not really my strong suit. So yeah, I did have trouble, and it's always fixable. You can always ask for help, right, Tommy? Yeah, he agrees, I think. So that's it for this week's question. If you have a quilting question, please do pop it in the comments box below. I would love to read them, and who knows, maybe your question will be answered in next week's video. So thanks for watching. I love that you're here in my little corner on the YouTube, and would love to see you again next week. Bye!